Hello friends, today I am Kirandeep Garg. Basically discuss chapter 2 part 1 of banking regulation. Banking regulation is the second chapter of PPB. Earlier we discussed chapter 3 and 4 also, and chapter 4 one part is missing, basically foreign exchange. Part 3 basically foreign exchange, LIBOR, MIBOR. This part we have to discuss after discussion of few chapters like of foreign exchange, basically chapter foreign exchange and shares market, because these chapters are important to understand before foreign exchange or MIBOR or LIBOR. So here we have discussed chapter 2 part 1. This is the basic chapter, so important. Also 3 to 4 questions, very easy questions from this chapter. So that's why we have to cover this chapter basically in two parts. This is the part 1 and after that part 2. So let's start with the today's lecture. I am Kirandeep Garg from UGEM Shiksha Kendra. So students, if you like our video, please subscribe our channel and like the video. Because only liking the video and subscribing the channel, we are able to know that you are watching our lectures. And if you want to comment or give any feedback, then in the comment section. Our Facebook page is Aim to Achieve and our Telegram group is JAB UGEM for handwritten notes, which are most important, because my lecture is based upon all my notes, and all these notes are up with respect to latest syllabus. And in notes I basically cover all institutions, basically like 5 to 6 institutions are in the market. Basically I cover all MCQs and theory, basically MCQs related theory also cover in my notes, and all important previous year questions also covered in my notes. So for notes you have to mail on our email ID ugem2493@gmail.com. Till now 175 students approximately get our notes. If you read our notes 2 to 3 times, then guaranteed you can achieve more than 70 marks in paper. No read of book after reading our notes. So let's start our today's lecture. Introduction. What is the meaning of introduction here? So our chapter is banking regulation. So banking regulation basically means in every country banking is regulated by some authority. Basically banking is regulated by some authority, because banking is the most important pillar for economy of the country, not economics, economy of the country. Like example, in England, UK, basically in England, UK, banking is not defined by any law, but it is regulated by. In UK it is regulated by Bank of England. Similarly, you have to answer in US the name of the central bank of US. You have to answer in the comment section. This question is asked one of the exams of JIB. Basically this question is asked in legal, not in PPB. This is legal. What is the name of the central bank of US? You have to comment in the comment section. And in India the central bank is Reserve Bank of India. Basically the banking is regulated in India is regulated by Reserve Bank of India, under which act? Basically RBI Act. RBI is established under RBI Act 1934, and other is one is More Act for Banking Regulation Act, Banking Regulation Act 1949. Both these acts are important, and in India banking is regulated by both these acts. So after that, RBI constitution, basically how RBI is constituted. Here we have not discussed the history of RBI, like which we have discussed in banking awareness, like what is the name of the committee, like Hilton and Young committee, and who is the first governor, deputy governor, and when the headquarters is shifted from Kolkata to Bombay. These types of question we have not discussed here, because we have discussed only important parts. So these history type questions not come in the exam. So RBI, basically RBI constituted under RBI Act 1934, and one most important question asked in exam of 0.5 marks. This is very important, 0.5 marks also. When it starts functioning, when RBI starts functioning and starts functioning on of 1st April 1935. 80% of the students tick 1 April 1934. This is the wrong answer, because RBI Act is 1934. So basically this is comes in mind that RBI started working in 1934, but RBI actually started working in 1935, 1st of April 1935. And you have to write who is the first governor of RBI. Who is the first governor of RBI? One more question which is asked regarding governor of RBI is like that: who is the only governor and prime minister of India? Basically, who is the only prime minister of India also held the post of the governor? That person is, basically that prime minister is Dr. Singh, basically Dr. Manmohan Singh. He is the governor of RBI 1985 to 1988. And after that 1988, basically 89 to 1994 or 5, finance minister of India. And after that from 2004 to 2014, prime minister of India. So these are the different roles basically done by the Dr. Singh, Manmohan Singh. So how RBI is constituted? Basically RBI is headed by governor, and after that present governor is, you have to write in the comment section who is the present governor. These types of question asked in the exam. Why I am not discussing? Because these are very common questions, so you have to know. And after that 4 deputy governors of RBI. Presently 3 are working and 1 post is vacant. 4 deputy governors, and all these governor and deputy governor appointed by, this question also asked in the exam, who appointed governor and deputy governor? All of us know that governor is appointed by the union government, but also the 4 deputy governors are also appointed by the union government, basically government of India. And basically total how many members are in the RBI? Basically main, and RBI's headquarters is in Mumbai presently. So basically total 21 main members are in the RBI. 1 is governor, 4 deputy governor, 12 directors nominated by government. And after that 4 local board. Basically RBI has 4 local boards: Mumbai, Chennai, Delhi, Kolkata. So total 21. 12, 4, 4. 20 and 1 is 21. So this question asked in the exam. How many total members are in the RBI? Basically 21 members are in the RBI. So after that next is roles and functions of RBI. This question is asked as a multiple choice question. Multiple choice question, here they have write A, B, C, D, and in the options, first option like A, B, D, second is BAC. So you have to understand how this question comes. So what are the roles and functions of RBI? So roles and functions of RBI, first is monetary authority, basically money control. RBI is monetary authority and also manager of foreign exchange. Second one is, who is the issuer of currency? RBI is the issuer of currency. Issuer of currency. Last time one question asked on currency, like basically on 5 rupee note, which are presently very less in the market. What is the symbol, basically what is the picture on the back side of the 5 rupee note? So you have to remind all the pictures, which one lecture we have made on the currency, like what is the features of notes. So this type of question also asked in the exam. After that, third is banker and debt manager to government. These are all the functions of RBI to Government of India. Monetary authority, issuer of currency, banker and debit manager to Government of India. Fourth is regulator of, fourth one is regulator of banking system. Fifth one is easy one and all of us we know, banker to banks. So these are all the 5 functions of the RBI. And after that we have starts first function, monetary authority. In this part only we have to discuss monetary authority. What is the meaning of monetary authority in the simple words? Basically this means that to achieve law and stable inflation, low and stable inflation and promoting growth. This is the main basically motive of the or the goal of the monetary authority. So to achieve basically these goals, RBI use basically 2 types of functions or instruments: direct instruments and indirect instruments. One question from these: direct and indirect instruments. So what are the direct instruments? Basically direct instruments are like CRR, SLR. Basically when RBI implement these instruments, they directly control the liquidity in the market. Like here we have write CRR or SLR. CRR is basically, all of us know that, the cash reserve ratio, and SLR is statutory liquidity ratio. One is cash reserve ratio, second is statutory liquidity ratio. Basically like cash reserve ratio, it is the amount of quantum, it is the quantum of cash or quantum of cash that banks are required to keep with RBI. Basically CRR is to keep with RBI. This question is asked in exam: under which act banks are required to keep their cash with RBI? Basically under section 42(1) of the RBI. Of which act? RBI Act 1934. So banks have to deposit some quantum of cash with RBI under section 42(1) of the RBI Act 1934, which is known as cash reserve ratio. And other is this, basically this is deposit only in the form of cash. And other is SLR, statutory liquidity ratio. Basically this is also the amount, basically this is have to maintain banks with itself, either in the form of cash or liquid, basically liquid assets, or in government securities or gold. So this question also comes basically cash reserve ratio only in the form of cash, SLR in the form of cash, liquid assets, basically government securities or gold. SLR is banks have to maintain with respect to itself. And how much the value of SLR? Basically CRR and SLR is fixed by RBI. They have fixed some percentage, and on the basis of percentage they have to fix with the RBI. And then what will happen if the CRR is not maintained? Like example, bank have to maintain CRR of approximately like you have take example like 1 crore, but at some times due to some issues bank have only maintained 90 lakh with the RBI. So here comes the word penalty. There is some penalty on the bank of not maintaining CRR or SLR. Here SLR, the penalty for both CRR and SLR is same. First is, in the case of default, basically penalty interest initially is 3% above the bank rate, 3% above the bank rate, or basically penalty is basically on which amount, like bank have to maintain 1 crore but have maintained only 90 lakhs. So difference is 10 lakh. So penalty is basically on how much quantum is less basically or shorts. So, and basically 3% above the bank rate, and on which basically on that amount which shortens or shorten, basically that amount which is short, penalty interest is levied on it. And if it is continue for further basically for next week or for next fortnight, then penalty will increase, which is 5% above the bank rate. Rest conditions are same. And for penalty for SLR is also same. And under which act basically RBI envisaged penalty, basically under section 42 part 3 of RBI Act 1934. You have to remind these sections. These sections are important. Directly 0.5 marks question. In under which section RBI has to basically banks have to maintain CRR? Under section 42(1) of the RBI Act, and penalty is under section 42(3) of the RBI Act. And these are the main direct instrument, and after that indirect instruments. There are 3 to 4 indirect instruments. First is LAF. These are easy one. Liquidity Adjustment Facility. Full form also important. Liquidity Adjustment Facility. So what is the meaning of LAF? Basically LAF consists of daily infusion, exact definition, daily infusion and absorption of liquidity. LAF is basically consists of daily infusion, how much amount is infusion in basically put in the market and how much amount is taken away from the market. Absorption of liquid on a repurchase basis. Basically, how they inject liquidity? Through repo, injection of liquidity, and how they absorb? Through reverse repo. This question also asked in the exam. What is injection of liquidity? Basically repo rate, and a reverse repo is the liquidity absorption. So how they basically LAF is depends upon repo rate and reverse repo rate. So what is repo and reverse repo? Basically, in simple language, as simple words, repo is basically at which RBI lends money to banks, and the reverse repo is banks lends money to RBI. So when RBI lends money to banks, so there are more money in the banks, and banks give more money to the customers. So liquidity is injected. Or interest rate is low, then more persons take loans and liquidity is injected. And banks to RBI, basically when RBI thinks that there are a large amount of liquidity in the market, so there is absorption of liquidity. So how they absorb? Basically through reverse repo. Increases interest rate on loans, so they absorb liquidity, or by some other ways. So this is the meaning of repo and reverse repo. And LAF, liquidity adjustment facility, is work on the principle of repo and reverse repo. Next is MSF. MSF is basically stands for marginal standing facility. Basically, marginal standing facilities started by RBI from 17th of April 2012. Basically, marginal standing facility is the borrow facility, not borrower, borrow facility. Basically, through MSF, scheduled commercial banks can borrow money from the RBI at 2% above. Basically, not 2%, up to 2%. Up to 2% of their, how much money? Basically, up to 2% of their NDTL, net demand and time liabilities. And at how much interest rate? Interest rate is 100 basis point above the repo rate. 100 basis point above the repo rate. Basically, it means 1% above. If the repo rate is 5%, then MSF is 6%. So this is the meaning of MSF. MSF is basically borrow facility for scheduled commercial banks. How much? Up to 2% of their NDTL. And how much amount they can borrow? Minimum is 1 crore and further multiple of 1 crore. And after that, bank rate and issuer of currency. This is the last topic of the today's lecture. What is the bank rate? Basically, bank rate, it is the rate at which RBI is ready to buy or rediscount bills of exchange. This definition we have to discuss in the coming lecture, because presently we don't know what is bills of exchange and what is the meaning of rediscount or how RBI can buy. So presently leave this definition here. In the coming lecture we have discussed this in detail, and now discuss issuer of currency. As we know that RBI is the sole authority in India, so RBI is also the issuer of currency in India. One more question, like who issues 1 rupee coin? So 1 rupee note, all coins are issued. 1 rupee note. 1 rupee note is issued by Finance Ministry. 1 rupee note is issued by Finance Ministry and signed by Secretary, not Finance Minister. and signed by Finance Secretary. Rest all notes are issued by RBI and signed by Governor of India except ₹1 note which is signed by Finance Secretary. You have to answer who is the presently Finance Secretary of India. And one more question. Basically coins are basically how many denominations of coins are presently? 1, 2, 5, 10 or 50 paisa. These are 5 denominations presently in the market. Like 25 paisa not presently in the market. All are deregulated by the RBI. And how many 50 paisa coins, or where we have used, one more question, note this point, where we have used 50 paisa coins as per RBI guidelines, or same question asked in the exam. Basically 50 paisa coins we have used only to settle, basically to settle sum not exceeding, to settle sum not exceeding 10 rupees. Basically this means if we have to do any payment, if and the payment is less than 10 rupees, then we can use 50 paisa coin, otherwise we cannot use 50 paisa coin as per RBI guideline. And RBI can issue maximum denomination. This question asked in the November 2019. What is the maximum denomination issued by the RBI? 10,000 rupee note. 10,000 rupee note. Presently maximum denomination is 2,000, which is issued after the demonetization on 8th of November 2016. So in this lecture we have discussed some important banking guidelines like RBI Act and their functions. In the next lecture we have discussed some other functions of the RBI which are also important and consist of 1 or 2 questions. Like one most important is lead bank scheme, which we have discussed in the next lecture. And the one is presently very important role is DICGC, Deposit Insurance and Credit Guarantee Corporation. Why RBI basically why, when this institution is formed and why this institution is formed, all these questions we have to discuss in the coming lecture, in the part 2 of this lecture. If you like this video, please subscribe our channel and like the press button and share with your friends. Thank you.